Portugal were awful in the first leg, losing 1-0 to Denmark. It could have been much, much more. But they end up 5-2 winners, Jules. And they were going out until our pal Trincao and his mustache came on.
Yeah, because they also made mistakes defensively. Ruben Diaz with a terrible mistake, and Denmark not with the talent that Portugal have, not maybe more importantly with the depth in the squad, because they look shattered in extra time, for example, where really Portugal won it without Cristiano, by the way, who didn't play in extra time, who was subbed off after 90 minutes.
He missed the penalty earlier, but we won't rub it in.
But we won't go there. Also scored, to be fair, credit to him.
22 years in a row that he scored in international football.
Which is really, really special. But Portugal, too good in the end for this Danish team who did well in the two legs at times, and we saw glimpses of what Brian Redman wants to do with them. But yeah, this time it was Trincao, really the unluckiest of heroes, I guess.
When you get to 2-2, you need to hold out the last 18 minutes,
but
Denmark.
It was impossible. And Schmeichel finished the game injured too. Norway destroyed Moldova away in World Cup qualifying. 5-0 Gab. They are in Italy's group. Now that we know which group Italy will be in for the qualifiers of the World Cup, where they usually struggle. Are you starting to worry about Haaland and Odegaard and the only living Soloth in captivity?
Genuinely, considering how much trouble Italy had against big, tall Tim Kleindienst, the fact that like this army of giants is coming in there, yes. And in the knowledge of what happened in the last two World Cup qualifying seconds, yes, they terrify me. And then in the end, it's going to be a little guy, or relatively little guy like Antonio Nusa who undoes us. So yes, I'm already having nightmares. Jules, Belgium are sticking around in the Nations League top flight, but what a comeback against Ukraine. 3 goals in the last 20 minutes, 2 of them from that man, Romelu Lukaku. And of course, it was Mr. Champions League, Hans van Aken, pulling the strings once again.
Yeah, with the assist for the third goal. I mean, the second goal, the cross from De Bruyne, and the scissor kick, not overhead kick, scissor kick on the side from Lukaku is brilliant. I mean, we knew they would have a lot of the ball and they would probably control this game, which they did. However, it took a long time to score. Rudy Garcia, for my liking, under massive pressure already. Imagine if, after losing that first game 3-1, he could not turn around this tie. Went with a lot of experience, and I was like, I'm not so sure. But in the end, to be fair, his substitutions made a massive difference. De Kuiper came on after 70 minutes, Telemakers as well, and they changed the game. And after that, first goal goes in from De Kuiper, of course, and then they score 3 in 15 minutes pretty much, the 2 Lukaku goal, to win 3-0 and stay, so not being relegated to the second division, if you want, in the Nations League, stay at the top, which is where they belong. But I think Rudy Garcia was pretty relieved at the end that they turned it around.
And he's very happy to have Hans van Aken.
Yeah, of course, Mr. Champions League. Serbia beat Austria 2-0, now promoted to League A of the Nations League, while Austria go down to League B. And it was nice to see Dusan Vlahovic. I know you've been rooting for him really on the show, scoring, actually playing and scoring. But what about that goal as well that gave away Austria?
Yeah, I think we had some issues here, Captain Ralph. Look, but my point is just about Vlahovic. I genuinely do not get it. I'm happy for him that he scored. I think Thiago Motta really treated him like crap. Doesn't matter how much money you get paid. Doesn't matter how, can I say this without getting in trouble? How unpleasant, allegedly, your agents are. And one thing that we know of in the world of football, everybody craps on everybody else. And whatever, he should play. And every time I see him on the sidelines, and I say, here's a guy who's bigger, faster, stronger, more talented than 80% of the Lloyd Kellys on the pitch.
Or even Colomwani, probably even.
What? Probably more than Colomwani, frankly. Right? I just want to see him play, and you're hurting yourself. And so I'm glad for him. Hopefully he gets a shot with Igor Tudor, because it's madness. It's madness. Now, I like it when broadcasters get creative. So, Jules.
I knew you would like this story.
I love this story. It's BeIN Sport. I don't work for BeIN Sport. You don't work for BeIN Sport. Supposedly we're rivals. But they did something very neat this weekend. Also very French, I think.
French, you're right. They wanted to, I guess, put a big spotlight on grassroots football in France. So they decided...
And they also needed to have something for their guys to do because, of course, they only have one game a week in Ligue 1, right?
Yeah, but
so there's a lot of people sitting on their hands.
Yeah, but they have Spanish football. They have other things. They've got Germany, the Bundesliga. So they did, listen, if you're a grassroots club in the 12th division,
which is about the 12th tier is about as far down as you can go. Because
I think
it says 4th division, but remember there's a million levels within that.
No,
right?
because you play national, then regional, then basically in your kind of county or department in France, and then this is I think there might be one division behind even. This is it. So they are bad players, really bad, old and fat players,
recreational players.
Yeah, recreational. That is exactly. But BeIN Sport said, listen, we want to put the spotlight on you. So we're gonna you can send the name of your club, and then we pick 2 clubs who are not far from each other, and we're gonna broadcast their random league game on a Sunday afternoon, live on BeIN Sport, like if it was Real Barcelona or Dortmund, Bayern Munich,
or PSG Marseille.
So they had 2 of the main commentators, the commentator and the ex-player, the pundit.
Is it an ex-player I've heard of?
Yeah, I think so. They used to. They do the Bundesliga for BeIN Sport, and they were good. You had the presenter. You had Sonny Anderson, the former Marseille and Monaco striker,
and Barcelona
striker, who is one of their star pundit, who was there too. You had the star presenter. You had the guy on the pitch, interviewing, doing the flash interviews and everything. It was literally like any top flight game that BeIN Sport broadcast. It was brilliant. The team Eiger or something like that won 5-0 or 6-0 against Lawson, the reserve team of Lawson. But yeah, I won't lie, I didn't watch the whole game. I just watched a little bit of it because I thought I should, participate really. So me and the kids watched it. But it was really fun. You see the tiny little pitch in this like middle of France, pretty much. It was great. Well done to BeIN.
And they had all the cameras and everything. No VAR.
Yeah, no, they didn't have VAR, but they had like I think 6 or 7 cameras. All around. It looked like a proper. What you would see, I guess, in a cup game. Really, really low tier.
But a lot lower.
Yeah.
Teams from the 12th tier or step 12 or whatever the hell they call it in this country do not make it onto our television screens.
No, that's true.
Now, when you talk about the level, just for people to understand, that far down, it is recreational. It is people with other jobs.
They hardly run. They don't run much, basically.
Could you have played in this game?
Yeah. No,
I would
have been too good. Yeah, I would have been too good for this.
You would have been the best player on the pitch by far.
But for example, the team that won had this. I don't know too. I don't want to go too much into it. But had this younger boy who is clearly better than the others, who had clearly thought, I'm going to score here. So he prepared a lot of potential celebrations. I think he scored 2 goals, did the Mbappe one, then went to see his brothers on the touchline and did the Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers Cole celebration with his 2 brothers as well, live on French television, So it was amazing. What a great memory it would be for those people. Russia have been banned from international competition. We know that because of the war in Ukraine, of course, for a while now. So Gab, how is it possible that they keep moving up in the FIFA ranking? Can you please explain it to us?
So this is where you can blame the art of mathematics. So they're banned from international competition, from official matches. So they can't play in UEFA qualifying, they can't play World Cup qualifying. And technically, they're actually, I didn't realize this, but they're not banned because of the invasion of Ukraine. They're banned because in, I guess, the 2 or 3 kind of regions of Ukraine that they took over, in which they annexed, those are part of the Ukrainian Football Association, if you will, and those are regional football associations, and now they've taken them over, and now they're part of the Russian system, right? So technically that's the reason. But they're not banned from playing football. So
friendlies, basically.
They can only play friendlies. And obviously, most countries don't want to play against them because it is kind of a PR disaster.
Yeah.
So they're paying all these teams, and I don't want to diss anybody's country.
Yeah.
But they're playing a lot of FAs who have kind of some time on their hands, and they're just paying them money. They're paying their expenses to fly over. Most recently they beat Grenada 4-0. And you get less points for friendlies, and you get less points for playing lower ranked teams, but they haven't lost any of their friendlies.
Yeah, and you still get points.
And you still get points. And so now they are 34th in the world, which for context is they're ahead of countries like Poland, like Greece.
That is mad.
And like Norway as well. Those are the rules. We can debate if it's right or wrong. On the flip side, you could say, if you were a Russian football fan, it's like, well, wait a minute. we're being penalized because we can't play official competition. And
at
some point, there will be peace. Presumably, we'll be back in the system.
Yeah.
Well, it's not fair that we start from number 205 behind Montserrat.
Yeah. True.
I get that.
Yeah.
I guess those countries that agree to play them aren't really bothered by what's going on.